I stood in my childhood bedroom, hands shaking as I read the letter again. Vincent Murphy's handwriting hadn't changed, still that careful, deliberate script. My deepest condolences on your father's passing, Annabelle. Jimmy was like a brother to me. I'll be at the house this evening to pay my respects. I've always considered you special. That last line made my stomach turn. Special. The same word he used 15 years ago at the lake house, right before he destroyed everything. I heard his voice downstairs. He was here. In my house. At my father's wake. I pressed my palm against the wall, steadying myself as the memory crashed over me. Age 8, his hands, the bathroom door locking, my screams for Mom who never came. When I finally ran to her, bleeding and terrified, she slapped me across the face. Don't you dare lie about Vincent. Do you know what you'd destroy? I stopped screaming after that. Downstairs, I heard my mother laugh at something Vincent said. 15 years, and she still chose him. My name is Annabelle Reed, and the man who molested me just walked through my front door like he owns it. I descended the stairs slowly, each step deliberate. The living room was packed with mourners. Vincent stood in the center, playing the role of grieving best friend. He wore an expensive black suit and that same gentle smile that fooled everyone. My mother, Diane, clutched his arm like he was family. My 16-year-old sister Priscilla sat on the couch nearby, looking uncomfortable but silent. I walked straight to the kitchen. Mom followed. Why is he here? I asked, my voice low. She didn't even blink. Vincent built this business with your father. He's family, Annabelle. And I won't have you making a scene today with your drama. Drama. That word again. The same word she used when I was 8, when I was 12 and tried telling Dad, when I was 14 and begged them to believe me. Dad called me confused and sent me to therapy, not to heal me, but to fix my storytelling problem. I stopped trying after that. Now, watching Vincent hug my mother, I finally understood. They always knew. They just chose him. The next morning, I broke into Dad's office. The door was never locked, he trusted everyone, except apparently me. I searched through filing cabinets, looking for anything about Vincent, about the business, about why he mattered more than his own daughter. Then I found it. A folder labeled VM Private. Inside were photos of Vincent at charity events, newspaper clippings calling him a champion for children, awards from youth organizations. My hands trembled as I kept digging. Then I saw the letter. Dad's handwriting, dated 3 years ago. Vincent, I know what happened at the lake house. Annabelle told us everything. But you've done too much for this family, and frankly, she's always been difficult. I'm asking you to keep your distance from her, but I can't afford to lose you as a partner. Consider this matter buried. The paper crumpled in my fist. My father knew. He knew, and he protected Vincent anyway. Called me difficult. Buried it like trash. Clipped to the letter was Vincent's response, handwritten, I appreciate your discretion, Jimmy. For what it's worth, Annabelle misunderstood a moment of affection. But I respect her perspective and will maintain appropriate boundaries. The business comes first. He lied. Played the victim. And my father believed him. Or didn't care. 3 days later, I sat in the attorney's office between Mom and Priscilla. Vincent sat across from us. Somehow, he'd been invited to this too. The attorney, an older man named Mr. Brennan, cleared his throat and began reading Dad's will. Jimmy's estate, valued at $4.2 million, will be distributed as follows. I expected the standard division, Mom gets the majority, Priscilla and I split the rest. Instead, Diane Reed retains the family home and receives $1 million. The remaining $3.2 million will be placed in a trust for Annabelle and Priscilla Reed, accessible upon reaching age 30, managed by co-executors Diane Reed and Vincent Murphy. Distribution requires approval of life choices and circumstances by both executors. The room tilted. Vincent Murphy now controlled mine and Priscilla's financial futures. He could deny us access if he deemed our choices inappropriate. Mom smiled. Vincent looked directly at me, his expression sympathetic. Your father wanted to ensure you girls were guided properly into adulthood. I take this responsibility very seriously. It wasn't responsibility. It was a leash. He owned us now. And my mother handed him the rope. That night, I knocked on Priscilla's bedroom door. She opened it, eyes red from crying. Can we talk? I asked. She nodded, pulling me inside. We sat on her bed, and I didn't know how to start. Finally, I just asked, has Vincent ever made you uncomfortable? Her face crumpled. He comes to my school sometimes. Mom invited him to career day last year. He's been helping with my college applications. My blood ran cold. Priscilla, has he ever? He stands too close, she interrupted, voice shaking. Touches my shoulder too long. Last month, he offered to take me to visit colleges. Just the two of us. Mom thought it was generous. I grabbed her hands. Listen to me. When I was 8 years old, at the lake house, Vincent molested me. I told Mom that night. She called me a liar and told me to never speak about it again. Dad knew too. They protected him. And now he's doing it to you. Priscilla stared at me, tears streaming down her face. Then something shifted in her expression, horror turning to fury. I believe you, she whispered. Priscilla pulled me into a fierce hug. We stayed like that for a long time, both crying. When we finally separated, her eyes were different, harder. What do we do? She asked. I wiped my face. We can't go to the police. No physical evidence. It's been 15 years for me. And our own mother would testify against us, you know she would. Priscilla nodded slowly. So what then? I'd been thinking about this since the will reading. We destroy him. Not with the law, with everything else. His reputation, his money, his freedom. We take it all. How? She asked. I leaned forward. First, you stay away from him. Refuse all contact. If Mom pushes, be polite but never alone with him. We need time. Time for what? For me to get close, I said. Closer than he'd ever expect. I'm going to work for him. Priscilla's eyes widened. Are you insane? Maybe, I admitted. But Vincent runs a youth nonprofit. Bright Futures Youth Foundation. He's built an entire career on protecting children. The hypocrisy is perfect. If he's done this to us, he's done it to others. I need to find them. Build a pattern. Then we burn it all down. I spent the next week researching Bright Futures Youth Foundation. Vincent founded it 12 years ago, right after I stopped accusing him. The timing wasn't coincidental, he built his shield then. The foundation's annual budget was $8 million. Vincent served as founder and executive director. The organization provided mentorship and college scholarships to underprivileged kids. Every photo on their website showed Vincent smiling with children. It made me physically ill. I dug deeper. They were hosting a major fundraising gala in 3 weeks. I found a job posting, volunteer coordinator needed immediately. I created a new email address, updated my resume under the name Annabelle, my middle name, and applied. 2 days later, I got an interview request. Meanwhile, Priscilla reported that Mom kept asking why she was being cold to Vincent. Our mother was getting suspicious. I told Priscilla to play along for now, be polite in public but never alone with him. We couldn't afford to tip our hand yet. The interview was scheduled for Monday morning. I cut my hair shorter, dyed it darker brown, bought professional clothes I'd never worn before. Vincent hadn't seen me in years. I was betting he wouldn't recognize me. I was betting on a lot of things. The Bright Futures office was in a renovated historic building downtown, all exposed brick and motivational posters. A woman named Marcy conducted my interview. She was probably 50, warm smile, genuinely kind. "We're passionate about protecting vulnerable youth," she said, showing me around. I almost laughed at the irony. "That's why I want to work here," I lied smoothly. "I believe every child deserves an advocate." She hired me on the spot. Start date, immediately. I'd be coordinating volunteers for the gala, working directly with the executive team. Which meant working directly with Vincent. My first day was Thursday. I arrived early, heart pounding. The office buzzed with activity, young staffers, interns, volunteers. Everyone seemed dedicated, genuinely believing in the mission. Then Vincent walked in. He moved through the office like a celebrity, greeting everyone by name. He wore an expensive suit, his salt and pepper hair perfectly styled. When he reached my desk, Marcy introduced us. "Mr. Murphy, this is Annabelle, our new volunteer coordinator." He extended his hand. I shook it. His grip was firm, lasting a second too long. "Welcome to the team, Anna. We do God's work here." His hand was the same one that hurt me. I smiled. "I'm passionate about justice for victims, Mr. Murphy." 2 weeks passed. I watched Vincent carefully. In public, he was perfect, charming, professional, always saying the right thing. But I noticed small things. The way he lingered near younger female interns. How he touched shoulders during conversations. The compliments about appearances. I befriended a 19-year-old intern named Kelsey. Over coffee one afternoon, she opened up, "Vincent is amazing, but sometimes he's intense, you know?" He offered to mentor me privately, outside the office. My boyfriend wasn't comfortable with it. My pulse quickened. "Did Vincent ever make you uncomfortable?" Kelsey hesitated. "Once, during a late meeting, just the two of us. He stood really close, touched my lower back. But I'm probably overthinking it. He's so respected." She wasn't overthinking it. I was right, there was a pattern. Vincent had done this before. Multiple times. I needed to find the other victims. If I could connect enough stories, build enough evidence, I could destroy him properly. But I had to be careful. One wrong move and he'd disappear behind lawyers and his reputation. That night, I started a private file on my laptop. Names, dates, observations. Kelsey was the first entry. I'd find the others. The gala was 1 week away. The office became chaotic, caterers, decorators, donor lists, seating charts. I volunteered for everything, making myself indispensable. Vincent noticed. "Anna, you're a godsend," he said one evening after everyone else had left. We were alone in the office. He stood too close. "I appreciate dedication. So many young people today lack work ethic." "I just believe in the mission," I said carefully. He smiled. "You remind me of someone, actually. I can't quite place it." My heart stopped, but I kept my expression neutral. "I have one of those faces." He studied me for another moment, then nodded. "Well, keep up the excellent work. In fact, after the gala, I'd like to discuss a permanent position. Maybe even a promotion." "I'd be honored," I lied. He touched my shoulder, casual, brief, but intentional. Then he left. I stood there, shaking. He was testing me. Seeing if I'd accept small boundary crossings. It's how predators work, they escalate slowly. But I wasn't 19-year-old Kelsey or 8-year-old me anymore. I was something he didn't expect. I was the trap. The night of the gala arrived. The venue was stunning, a historic mansion converted to an event space, chandeliers and champagne and wealthy donors in expensive clothes. I wore a simple black dress, blending into the background as staff. My job was managing volunteers, but really, I was watching. Vincent worked the room like a politician, shaking hands, posing for photos. Then I noticed something. A particular donor, an older businessman named Malcolm Pierce, seemed uncomfortable around Vincent. When Vincent approached him, Malcolm's smile didn't reach his eyes. Their conversation was brief, tense. After Malcolm walked away, I followed him to the bar. "Excuse me, Mr. Pierce? I'm Anna, volunteer coordinator. I wanted to thank you for your generous contribution." He looked at me, surprised. "Oh, well, it's for the kids, isn't it?" There was something bitter in his tone. I took a chance. "Can I ask why you donate to Bright Futures?" "Most of our supporters have personal connections to the mission." His expression darkened. "My daughter volunteered here 4 years ago. She was 20. Vincent mentored her." He stopped, jaw clenched. Let's just say the mentorship ended badly. But Vincent's lawyers made sure she stayed quiet. My pulse raced. "I'm so sorry." "So am I," Malcolm said. Then he left. I found Malcolm Pierce's daughter online. Her name was Stephanie. She lived 2 hours away. I debated for 3 days, then sent her a carefully worded message. "My name is Annabelle. I work at Bright Futures Youth Foundation. I'm looking into some concerns about workplace conduct. Your father mentioned you volunteered there 4 years ago. Would you be willing to talk?" She responded within an hour, "Who are you really?" I stared at her message. Then I wrote back the truth. "My name is Annabelle Reed. Vincent Murphy molested me when I was 8 years old. My family protected him. I'm trying to stop him from hurting anyone else. Please." 3 days passed. Then, "Meet me at Riverside Cafe, Saturday at 2 p.m. Come alone." I drove 2 hours that Saturday. Stephanie was 24 now, pretty but with tired eyes. We sat in a back corner booth. She didn't waste time. Vincent sexually assaulted me during a late office meeting 4 years ago. I reported it to the board. They offered my family money to stay quiet. My dad wanted to fight, but Vincent's lawyers threatened to destroy my reputation. Said I was mentally unstable, had a history of lying. Tears filled her eyes. I took the money. I'm not proud. I reached across the table. "How much did they pay you?" $50,000. "Do you still have the NDA?" She nodded slowly. "Why?" "Because I'm going to break this open. And I need your help." Stephanie and I met twice more over the next 2 weeks. She gave me copies of everything, the NDA, emails from Vincent, her original complaint to the board. It was explosive. But it wasn't enough. One victim with an NDA could be dismissed. I needed more. I went back through 4 years of Bright Future staff records. I'd gained access to the database as volunteer coordinator. I found names of young women who'd worked under Vincent, then suddenly resigned. 12 names over 8 years. I started reaching out carefully, using anonymous email accounts. Most didn't respond. 2 blocked me immediately. But 3 wrote back. The first, Jessica, had been an intern 6 years ago. Vincent never touched me physically, but he made constant inappropriate comments. I quit after 3 months. HR did nothing. The second, Tara, was more direct. He cornered me in the supply room. Tried to kiss me. I was 17, a volunteer. I told my parents. They contacted the organization. Vincent called it a misunderstanding. They gave my parents $10,000 to go away. The third, Amanda, sent a single line, "I'll testify if others will." I had 5 victims now, including myself. But I needed something bigger. Something public that couldn't be buried with money. Then Kelsey came to my desk crying. It was a Tuesday afternoon, most staff at lunch. "Anna, I need to tell someone," she whispered. I pulled her into an empty conference room. "What happened?" "Last night, Vincent asked me to help with donor files at his house. Said it would take a few hours. I went. I thought it was work." Her hands shook. "He offered wine. I'm 19, I said no. He kept insisting. Then he put his hand on my thigh. Told me I was special. That he could help my career. My blood turned to ice. Did he? I left, Kelsey said quickly. I made an excuse and ran. But Anna, I don't know what to do. He's my boss. Everyone loves him. Who would believe me? I took her hands. I believe you, Kelsey. And you're not alone. Her eyes widened. What? Vincent has done this before. Multiple times. I'm building a case against him. But I need you to report this, officially, to HR and the board. Will you? She looked terrified. They'll fire me. Or pay me off like, she stopped. Like they've done before? I finished. She stared at me. How did you know? Because I've found the others. Kelsey filed a formal complaint the next day. I helped her document everything, timeline, witnesses, text messages. HR was forced to investigate. Vincent was placed on temporary administrative leave pending review. The office erupted in chaos. Most staff defended Vincent passionately. A few stayed quiet, watching. I played the neutral coordinator, but internally, I was orchestrating everything. The board scheduled an emergency meeting for the following week. I knew what would happen. They'd try to bury it again, pay Kelsey off, protect their star founder. I couldn't let that happen. So I made a decision. I contacted a journalist, Rebecca Torres from the local newspaper. She'd written extensively about nonprofit corruption. I sent her an anonymous tip. Bright Futures Youth Foundation has paid multiple sexual harassment settlements over 8 years. Founder Vincent Murphy has a pattern of predatory behavior toward young female staff. Sources willing to talk. Rebecca called the office within 2 days, asking for comment. The board panicked. Vincent's lawyer showed up. And suddenly, everyone was very interested in Kelsey's complaint. But it was too late. The story was out there now, waiting to break. I just needed one more push. One more piece to make this undeniable. I sent an email from an untraceable account to every major donor, board member, and staff member of Bright Futures. The subject line, The Truth About Vincent Murphy. The body contained links to scanned documents, Stephanie's NDA, Jessica's resignation letter, Tara's parents' settlement agreement, Kelsey's HR complaint. I included a timeline showing 8 years of patterns, payments, and cover-ups. At the bottom, I wrote, how many more victims will you ignore? How many more children will you put at risk? The email went out at 3 a.m. on a Thursday. By 9 a.m., the office was in chaos. Reporters called constantly. Donors demanded answers. 3 board members resigned immediately. Vincent's lawyer released a statement denying everything, calling it a coordinated smear campaign by disgruntled former employees. But the damage was done. Rebecca Torres published her article that afternoon. Beloved youth advocate faces multiple sexual misconduct allegations. It was front-page news. My phone buzzed, a text from Priscilla, did you do this? I replied, it's starting. Mom called 30 seconds later. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail, her voice shrill, Annabelle, I know you're behind this. Vincent called. He's devastated. How could you destroy a good man's reputation with lies? I deleted the message without finishing it. Good men don't molest children, Mom. 2 days after the article, Vincent showed up at my apartment. I don't know how he found my address, maybe through office records. I opened the door, and there he was. For the first time, his mask slipped. You, he said, voice shaking with rage. I knew I recognized you. Annabelle Reed. You've been Annabelle this whole time. I smiled. Took you long enough to figure it out. You orchestrated all of this. The complaints, the media, the emails. His hands clenched into fists. I gave your family everything. Your father would be ashamed. My father protected a child molester, I said calmly. He knew what you did to me and chose you anyway. So forgive me if I don't care about his hypothetical shame. Vincent stepped closer. For a moment, I saw rage so pure it was frightening. You have no idea what you've done. Those women signed NDAs. You've violated legal agreements. I will sue you into oblivion. I will destroy, you'll do nothing, I interrupted. Because if you come after me legally, I'll testify. Under oath. About what you did when I was 8 years old. And unlike the others, I never signed an NDA. I never took your money. So go ahead, Vincent. Drag this into court. Let's see how that goes for you. Vincent left without another word. But I knew he'd retaliate somehow. I just didn't expect how fast. The next morning, 2 detectives showed up at my door. Miss Reed? We need to ask you some questions about your employment at Bright Futures Youth Foundation. My stomach dropped. Vincent was trying to frame me for something. What about it? I asked. There have been allegations of computer fraud, theft of confidential documents, and harassment. Mr. Murphy's attorney suggests you may have illegally accessed private files and distributed protected information. I almost laughed. He was using the legal system I couldn't access as a child. I'd like to speak to a lawyer before answering questions. They nodded, professional. That's your right. But we'll need you to come to the station for formal questioning. I called the only lawyer I could afford, a public defender named Marcus Chen who owed me a favor from years ago. He met me at the station. During questioning, I told the truth. I worked at Bright Futures legally. I observed workplace misconduct and reported it through proper channels. Any documents I shared were given to me voluntarily by victims. I broke no laws. The detectives weren't convinced, but they couldn't hold me. Marcus warned me as we left, Vincent Murphy has powerful friends and expensive lawyers. This won't end here. He was right. Over the next week, Vincent's legal team came after me with everything. They filed a civil lawsuit for defamation, breach of confidentiality, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The dollar amount, $2 million. I didn't have $2 million. I barely had 2,000. I was terrified they'd win, take everything, and bury the truth forever. Then Malcolm Pierce called me. Miss Reed, I heard about the lawsuit. I want to help. Why? I asked, suspicious. Because my daughter tried to kill herself 2 years ago. She's alive, thank God, but what Vincent did to her destroyed something fundamental. I let his lawyers silence us once. I won't do it again. He paused. I'm hiring you a legal team. The best in the state. Pro bono. And I'm personally funding a criminal investigation into Bright Futures financial records. If Vincent used foundation money to pay off victims, that's embezzlement. That's fraud. That's prison time. I almost cried. Mr. Pierce, I don't know what to say. Say you'll finish this, he replied. Say you'll make sure he never hurts another child. I will, I promised. And I meant it. Mom showed up at my apartment the next day. I hadn't spoken to her since the article broke. She looked older, tired. Annabelle, we need to talk. I let her in reluctantly. She sat on my couch, hands folded. You've destroyed Vincent's life. The foundation is shutting down. He's lost everything. Good, I said flatly. She flinched. He never touched you, Annabelle. You misunderstood, stop. My voice was ice. I was 8 years old, Mom. I came to you bleeding and terrified. I told you exactly what he did. You slapped me and called me a liar. Dad knew too, I found his letter. You both chose Vincent and his money over protecting your own daughter. Tears filled her eyes. The business needed him. We would have lost everything. So you sacrificed me instead. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. And now you're doing it to Priscilla. He was grooming her, Mom. She told me everything. You invited him into her life knowing what he did to me. Priscilla is being dramatic. Get out, I said. Get out of my apartment. I don't ever want to see you again. Annabelle, I'm your mother. You stopped being my mother the night you chose him. She left crying. I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. Malcolm's investigators found exactly what we needed. Over 8 years, Vincent had embezzled nearly $500,000 from Bright Futures. He disguised the theft as consulting fees and program expenses, but the money went directly to his personal accounts. He used it to pay settlements, fund his lifestyle, and buy silence. The investigators turned everything over to the district attorney. 2 weeks later, Vincent Murphy was arrested on charges of embezzlement, fraud, and witness tampering. The bail was set at $500,000. He couldn't pay it. For the first time in his life, Vincent Murphy sat in a jail cell. Rebecca Torres wrote another article, former youth advocate arrested for embezzling funds meant for children. The headline was everywhere. Social media exploded. Former donors demanded investigations. Celebrities who'd supported the foundation distanced themselves. Vincent's perfect reputation crumbled in 72 hours. I watched it happen from my apartment, feeling something I hadn't felt in 15 years, safe. But we still had one more step. The criminal trial. And I intended to testify. The district attorney contacted me directly. Miss Reed, we have strong financial evidence, but the defense will argue Vincent is being scapegoated for administrative errors. We need victim testimony to establish pattern and motive. Will you testify about the abuse? I said yes immediately. Then the DA added, we've spoken to Stephanie, Jessica, Tara, Amanda, and Kelsey. They've all agreed to testify. But we need one more. Your sister, Priscilla. She's still a minor. Vincent never physically touched her, but her testimony about grooming behavior would be powerful. Will she do it? I called Priscilla that night. She was 17 now, finishing her senior year. They want you to testify about Vincent's behavior toward you. The college visits, the touching, all of it. But Priscilla, this means standing in court and facing him. It means Mom will probably hate you too. I won't ask you to do this if you're not ready. There was a long silence. Then, I'm testifying. He doesn't get to win. Not anymore. My little sister, braver than I ever was. I love you, I whispered. I love you too. And Annabelle? Thank you for protecting me. We both cried. But these were different tears. These were the tears of people who'd survived and were finally fighting back. The trial began on a cold March morning. The courtroom was packed, media, victims' families, former donors, curious observers. Vincent sat at the defense table in an expensive suit, looking dignified and wounded. His lawyer was aggressive, charismatic. During opening statements, she painted Vincent as a charitable man destroyed by vindictive women with ulterior motives. The evidence will show that Vincent Murphy dedicated his life to helping children, and bitter former employees have twisted innocent interactions into something sinister for financial gain. Then the prosecution began. They presented the financial evidence first, 8 years of embezzlement, meticulously documented. Vincent's lawyer couldn't refute the numbers. Then came victim testimony. Stephanie went first. She was calm, clear, devastating. She described the assault, the cover-up, the money. Vincent's lawyer tried to discredit her during cross-examination, bringing up the NDA. You accepted $50,000 to stay quiet, didn't you? Yes, Stephanie said. Because I was 20 years old, terrified, and your client's lawyers threatened to ruin my life. Jessica testified next. Then Tara. Then Amanda. Then Kelsey. Each story built on the last, establishing an undeniable pattern. Vincent's lawyer fought hard, but the evidence was overwhelming. Then it was my turn. I walked to the witness stand in a simple navy dress. I placed my hand on the Bible and swore to tell the truth. The prosecutor, a woman named Angela Reeves, approached gently. Miss Reed, can you tell the court about your relationship with Vincent Murphy? I looked directly at Vincent. He stared back, expression unreadable. Vincent Murphy was my father's business partner. I trusted him. When I was 8 years old, during a family trip to our lake house, Vincent molested me in a bathroom. Afterwards, I ran to my mother. She slapped me and told me never to speak about it again. My father knew too. They both chose to protect Vincent instead of me. The courtroom was silent. Angela continued, "Did you ever report this to authorities?" At 14, I tried. The police said there wasn't enough evidence and that my parents contradicted my story. The case went nowhere. What happened when your father died? I detailed everything, the will, Vincent's control over our inheritance, his grooming of Priscilla. Vincent's lawyer objected repeatedly, but the judge allowed most of my testimony. During cross-examination, the defense attorney tried to break me. "Isn't it true you're bitter about your father's will? That you targeted Mr. Murphy for financial revenge?" "No," I said calmly. "I targeted Vincent Murphy because he's a predator who's been protected for too long. The money means nothing compared to justice." She couldn't shake me. I'd lived this story for 15 years. Every word was truth. Finally, Priscilla testified. At 17, she was poised and strong. She described Vincent's grooming behavior, the uncomfortable touching, the manipulative offers. Mom sat in the back of the courtroom, crying. Priscilla never looked at her once.